Hey, so I am going to tell you a story. And this is an absolutely true fucking story. I always tell people whenever I tell this in particular story, if you don't believe me, ask my mom. I mean, if you knew my mom, give it a shot. Ask her. See if I'm lying. So, this story in particular is to deal with my mom's ex-husband, my old stepdad. This was years ago. This is, this is probably like 9 years ago, maybe. Not even that, actually. Yeah, about 9. Running on 9. We're running on about 9. So, this story has to do with my stepdad and what's the right word for it? His craziness, I guess, is what you would categorize it as. But so my stepdad, one day he came to me, his son, and my mom, and he wanted to have like a sit down in the living room, and he said he had a confession. Okay. About what? So we all sit down in the living room, and we're all sitting next to each other, and he's standing up in front of us like he's about to give like a chart presentation, and I cannot make this up. He said verbatim, "I have something to tell you. I have been inflicted, and I am a werewolf." Yeah, he said a werewolf, like a fucking werewolf. The kind that, attacks, you turn on a full moon, a werewolf. The whole family, we just look at each other and we're like, what? And with the straightest fucking face, he looks at us and says, I have been inflicted. And the reason I wanted to tell you is because I don't want to inflict any harm into my family. And at this point, we're all thinking like there's a catch to it, there's like a gimmick, like he's got a punchline, he's pranking us or something. And keep in mind, he was sober, he was a drinker, but this is at like 11 in the morning. He hadn't been drinking, he didn't smoke, nothing like that. And so we're like, okay. And no punchline. There was none. He just had the straight face the whole time as he was saying this. I'm a werewolf. And I don't want to inflict harm on my family. And so he had a request from us. Or he had a request for us. His request was any night before the full moon, he wanted us to tie him down on the bed and lock him in the bedroom, so that way he didn't inflict harm to us, to his son, me, his wife, and his daughter. Funny thing is he never turned. He was just a hairy dude. We're like, where did you even get this? He's like, it happened when I was a kid. We would try to ask him questions about like, well, how did it happen? He's like, I just got bit. I got bit. It was when I was young. I've always been a werewolf. What? True story. That's a fascinating true story. He thought he was a werewolf. And he believed in the zombie apocalypse. I'll save that for another time. But for this story, little by little, he thought he was a werewolf. Pretty fascinating. You don't run into people that often that are firm believers are. To run into someone that even believes in a werewolf is a stretch. You know what I mean? Like, to think you are a werewolf, that's a whole nother level of fucking crazy. Oh, man. Yeah. So, moral of the story was, be careful who you surround yourselves with, because you never know who's going to be a werewolf and who ain't.